Hey, welcome back to another video. Here are my top 20 games from 2022. Wait, one, one second. This, this can't be right. What year is it? 2023. Oh boy. Welcome back to another video. This is kind of a late video, but it's here. It's my top 20 games from last year. Try to at least get it in before this year ends. The organization of this video is a top 20, and there's also alternate ranks for my top Game Pass games and then the top overall released in 22. So if you see alternate ranks, that's what those are. Anyways, enough talking. This has been way too late. Here we go. Enjoy the video. Evil Genius 2 World Domination is a satirical spy-fi lair-building game where you play as a criminal mastermind constructing your base, training your minions, and achieving global domination. The game has a lot of fun and campy dialogue and scenarios, and its humor makes it a lighthearted experience. The game's vibe is similar to the Dungeon series and Overlord games, and it has a similar villainous feel to the character Gru from Despicable Me. However, the game suffers from an insane amount of micromanagement in the late game, which can make it tedious and affect replayability. Additionally, the combat feels secondary to the rest of the game and gets in the way more than it adds to the enjoyment of the game. Overall, Evil Genius 2 is visually fun and lighthearted, but it might not be for everyone due to its tedious gameplay in the late game. I recommend it for at least one playthrough. Sleeping Dogs is an action game where you play as an undercover cop trying to take down a criminal organization without getting caught. The game's melee combat system is a major highlight, offering satisfying and brutal gameplay with plenty of combos and environmental action. However, the driving mechanics are clunky and unpleasant, and the open world lacks interesting things to do between story missions. Despite these flaws, the engaging storyline and fun gameplay make Sleeping Dogs a worthwhile experience, especially for fans of the Yakuza series. It's a short game, clocking in around 13 hours, and definitely worth playing for the combat alone. So if you're up for some martial arts action and don't mind some wonky driving, give Sleeping Dogs a shot. As Dusk Falls is an interactive drama that follows two families' entangled lives over 30 years, starting with a robbery gone wrong in 1998. The game has a charming visual novel comic book aesthetic and features impactful decision making that adds tension to the story. The voice acting is excellent, and the simplified QTE options make it more enjoyable. However, the game's graphics are initially jarring, and the default QTEs can be frustrating. So overall, a well worth 6-hour story experience that has an engaging journey to a satisfying conclusion. Alright, so Firewatch is a game where you play as a character lost in the Wyoming wilderness, chatting with someone through a handheld radio. The story and dialogue are super interesting, but let's be real, most of the game involves walking. Not exactly a thrilling activity, but hey, at least it's good exercise, right? Overall, it's a pretty short game that takes about 4 hours to finish, but definitely worth giving a try. Unfortunately, you won't be able to find it on Game Pass anymore, so you have to hunt for it elsewhere. Happy hiking. 2 Point Hospital is a hospital management simulation game where you design hospitals, cure bizarre illnesses, and manage staff in 2 Point County. The game has a light-hearted and humorous tone throughout, making it a fun and entertaining experience. While the Microsoft version didn't have templates initially, they were added later. However, there is a lot of micromanagement involved in staff skills during the endgame, but despite that, 2 Point Hospital is well worth playing. Managing a hospital with ridiculous illnesses is surprisingly enjoyable, and the addition of templates in all the versions make it even better. So if you're looking for a fun, quirky simulation game, give 2 Point Hospital a try. The Mass Effect Legendary Edition starts with Mass Effect, where you play as Commander Shepard leading an elite squad on a mission to save civilization from a deadly army led by Saren. The game has a great story, dialogue, characters, world building, and lore. However, the combat, itemization, gear, and the planet exploration with the Mako did not age well. Despite these issues, I still highly recommend this game and series, especially the Legendary Edition, for those who haven't played any of the Mass Effect series before. You're in for an epic adventure. Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered features an original story where players control and experience Peter Parker fighting crime and iconic villains in New York. The game offers immersive web-swinging mechanics, an engaging story, and satisfying open-world combat. However, the boss fights are one-dimensional and rely heavily on QTEs, and the open-world missions can be tedious and unrewarding. Despite these drawbacks, the game is still worth playing, especially for the web swinging around the city. It's extremely satisfying, fast, gut-turning visual spectacle, and an exhilarating experience. Lake is a walking driving simulator where the player delivers mail for 2 weeks in a small town. The game has a charming protagonist, a great atmosphere, and engaging story with mostly good voice acting.
Our new postal worker? Talk about not looking the part.
However, the gameplay is limited, and some of the voice acting is at a noticeably lower quality.
This is Meryl Rice, Genevieve. She used to live in town.
Despite its limitations, Lake is a relaxing and enjoyable game worth checking out. In Sniper Elite 5, Carl Fairburn fights to uncover Project Kraken in 1944 France with authentic sniping and an enhanced kill cam. The combat is satisfying and the slow motion kills are exciting. Co-op mode is the best way to play this game. The single player experience is less engaging. The maps are fun to explore, but the story is forgettable and the AI is not very smart. Overall, it's a solid 10-hour experience worth playing with a friend. God of War is an action-adventure game where Kratos, a former Greek god, now lives in the realm of the Norse gods with his son. The game features weighty and impactful combat, a good progression of Kratos' arsenal, and an engaging story. However, I did not like the single-shot camera. For me, it was immersion-breaking, and it made fast travel needlessly long. There are also way too many QTEs and cutscenes. The lack of key graphics and gameplay options for PC, such as a FOV slider, is also disappointing. Despite its issues, I still recommend the game for its enjoyable combat and engaging story elements. Let me tell you about this game called Tiny Tina's Wonderland. It's a crazy adventure where you get to create your own hero and go on a mission to defeat the Dragon Lord. Let me tell you, the combat is insane. You can cast spells and slash your enemies with high-powered weaponry. The dual class system and jump puzzles add to the game's customization and engagement. However, the story and the UI are lacking, and the end game gets old quickly due to a tedious itemization system and inventory management. The game is more enjoyable with friends, and I don't recommend playing solo. I'd say give Tiny Tina's Wonderland a go if you're looking for some silly, lighthearted co-op fun. It's not perfect, but it's a wild ride that's worth it, especially if you can grab it on sale. So what are you waiting for? Go slay some dragons with your magical guns. Don the mask and join the Phantom Thieves of Hearts as they stage grand heists, infiltrate the minds of the corrupt, and make them change their ways. I don't want to linger too long on this game as I haven't finished it in 2022. Overall, my experience with Persona 5 Royale last year is extremely mixed because of the near rage quit that happened towards the middle of the game during the 5th palace. If you know, you know. So even though I haven't finished it, it's on this list because 86 hours is a lot of playtime, even if it took me another 100 to finish it in 2023. Get ready to be emotionally invested in the journey of Amicia and Hugo in A Plague Tale Requiem. With breathtaking locations, amazing voice acting, and a satisfying conclusion to the story, this game is a must-play for fans of the first. However, some boss encounters and rail sections may leave you frustrated with their specific completion requirements. Despite this, the stunning locations and engaging story make up for any flaws. So if you haven't played the first game, now is the time to pick up both and immerse yourself in this heart-rending adventure.
Stop!
Hugo, stay behind me!
In AI The Somnium Files, you play as Detective Kaname Date trying to solve a serial killer case. The game has great writing, fully voice-acted dialogue, and a very engaging story with branching paths that require replaying sections to see different outcomes. The only downside is the conclusion feels a little underwhelming, but the journey getting there is incredible. The game is definitely worth playing, and I highly recommend it.
Oh, sorry, my fault. Must be mistaken.
In Road 96, you embark on a procedurally generated road trip as you hitchhike your way to freedom, with a story that continues to unfold with each trip. The characters are well developed and the dialogue is great, but some of the mini-games are a bit clunky. I highly recommend this game for its story, atmosphere, music, and the characters. Do yourself a favor and play it. Total War Warhammer 3 is the concluding game in the trilogy, and it is the ultimate Total War game, With the inclusion of the Immortal Empires campaign, Warhammer 3 is a gaming achievement that must be played by fans new and old to the series. It has excellent quality of life changes, improved diplomacy, new factions and units, and a new 3-player co-op Kislev campaign. Simultaneous turns in co-op is a game changer. However, there are a few cons, like time-dated portal mechanics in the campaign, the absence of Immortal Empire on release, and the need for more Three Kingdoms campaign map mechanics. But with the massive quality of life improvements and amazing co-op experience, I highly recommend this game now, especially with Immortal Empires campaign. Life is Strange True Colors is a narrative-driven game that follows the story of Alex Chen, a young woman with the power of empathy who must use her power to uncover the truth. I love the first Life is Strange game, and this is the first one since then that I've absolutely loved almost as much as the first. This is a Life is Strange game through and through, so if you didn't like the first few games, there isn't anything here that will change your mind. However, if you haven't played any of them yet or liked the previous entries, True Colors is an amazing game to experience and play. The visuals, music, and story are excellent. I highly recommend picking up this game.
I'm okay.
Twoo Campus is a humorous management simulator from the creators of Twoo Hospital that allows players to build and run their dream university, filled with fun and quirky courses. The game features lighthearted humor with visual and physical comedy, chill tunes, and a fun gameplay loop where players optimize class sizes, dorm room densities, and campus layouts. While the game can get repetitive, especially in the later levels, plus performance issues on PC, Twoo Campus is a highly addictive and charming game that is definitely worth picking up. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is an epic action-adventure game that lets you take on the role of Star-Lord, leading the unpredictable Guardians on an explosive journey across the cosmos. The stunning visuals and perfectly picked licensed rock soundtrack, the game truly captures the essence of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. The characters and their dialogues are some of the best aspects of the game, with their banter between the Guardians being just as hilarious and entertaining as in the films. The character depictions are also spot on, with some even being more enjoyable than their movie counterparts, especially with Drax and Gamora. The story is a well-paced linear adventure that takes you on a precise path from start to finish, allowing for plenty of attention to detail in the dialogue. The music integration into the combat huddle breaks is epic, fun, and very immersive, making you feel like you're in the films. However, the combat can be a bit lacking, with barely passable gameplay that can become annoying quickly. While you only play as Star-Lord, the attacks feel weightless with negligible damage, and the only significant damage comes from your teammates' abilities, which you'll mostly be spamming off cooldowns for every encounter. The combat would work better in a turn-based style system like Yakuza Like a Dragon or the Final Fantasy remake. Overall, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is an incredible game to play despite the subpar combat. With its humor, visuals, music, and story, it's a must-play for any Marvel fan. If you're looking for a game that feels like a Marvel movie, this is it. However, because it's no longer on Game Pass, I would recommend waiting for a sale to pick it up, unless you have an RTX-enabled card, in which case I highly recommend buying it.
Kogalmak.
In the land of video games, there lies a tale of Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, a game of strategy and action set in a vast medieval sandbox. The game allows you to create a character and engage in diplomacy, craft, trade, and conquer new lands. You fight and command troops in massive real-time battles using a deep and intuitive skill-based combat system. Like the forging of a great sword, the game has seen many improvements over its predecessor Warband. The graphical overhaul and upgraded engine breathe new life into the experience. Real-time battles where you can control your general and command your troops simultaneously are unmatched in the genre. The game provides an epic scale of battles in a third-person action game. The off-the-battlefield gameplay is also great in Bannerlord. As you move around the campaign map in real time alongside other characters and factions, decisions must be made. The play and pause system allows you to pursue targets, join factions, grow your clan, and eventually manage your own kingdom. Managing a kingdom requires the passing of laws, recruiting lords, and keeping clans happy. Army recruitment is a great addition to the game. You can recruit lords from clans in your faction to join you in planned conquests. The smithing crafting system is also enjoyable. A break from the campaign can be taken to level up smithing skills and to create better and stronger weapons. As with any tale, there is also hardships. The game is not a AAA title and it has some jank. However, if you can overlook this, the experience is truly remarkable. Mount & Blade is a series that has stood the test of time, and Bannerlord is no exception. The game delivers on everything I could want from a sequel to Warband. The satisfaction of conquest and becoming the ruler of Calradia is an experience to be treasured. It is a game that I cannot recommend enough, and now that it's on Game Pass, it is an adventure that should not be missed.
Attack!
And that's my top 20 list for 2022 of the games that I played. Let me know what you guys thought. If you had any games there that you haven't played yet, add them to your endless backlog, because 2023 has been insane with game releases. Maybe you'll see me, maybe you'll not. Maybe I'll make a video, maybe I won't. No promises this time. Take it easy.